Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 593. Super Snow Valentines Captain Felon President's Day show. Uh, basically covering everything that happened this week and into next week as well. Still recovering from my cold, obviously. I'm also exhausted out of my mind, so I'm going to try to maybe do this a little quicker than normal to get it done with here so I don't have to worry about it too much. I should have wore something else, but that's okay. I'm all right. But before we go, I found it. The Coca-Cola Orange Cream Soda is now out. Believe it or not, I saw it at my grocery store. They had 12 packs. They also had the Blackberry Dr. Pepper, and I found the solo ones at a different place as well. So let's see. Here we go. Smells like an orange cream sickle. So let's give it a test here. A little disappointed because I don't really taste the orange too much in it. It tastes basically like vanilla Coke for the most part. There might be a hint of something else in there. It tastes like a sweeter cream flavor than you're typically used to. Still a little disappointed. There should be a little more orange flavor in it. Oh, no, not bad. I do have a 12 packs I bought. I wanted to get it real quick, so I was going to use one of the cans to try it out. But it's out of my car now, so it's passable, but really not as spectacular as I thought it was. I remember the orange vanilla Coca-Cola tasting a lot more orangey. This one just sort of tastes like vanilla Coke, to be honest. Sort of similar how the cream soda Dr. Pepper just sort of tasted like regular Dr. Pepper there. So, a little disappointed in these new soda flavors. I was really hoping this orange cream one would be better than it is, but we'll find out. Maybe the cans will be better. I did get them, so hopefully I got a lot of soda up there now, and I'll probably start drinking it after I drink all that. Yeah, I wish there was more of an orange flavor, but oh well. What can you do? Oh well. Not bad, but again, it does taste like vanilla Coke, really. So what do we got this week? We got Valentine's Day. We have Captain America, Brave New World review. Will be spoilers because that's what I do. We'll do some more stupid MAGA bullshit coming out of our fucking fascist White House now. I think that's what's kind of killing me also is that it's so exhausting, everything that's going on in there. And then with all the weird weather we've been having, we had snow to begin the week. A really nothing ice storm that was supposed to be really, really bad, but it turned out not to be. No, wait, that was last week. This week was the snow. And today was kind of supposed to be kind of an icy sort of rain thing. And that did kind of happen. We started off with snow here, and then it hit sleet, and then it turned into rain, and it's been raining pretty much. It's supposed to be warmer tomorrow with the rain continuing and possible thunderstorms. So we got a lot of stuff here upcoming. High winds, thunder, lightning, a lot of rain, thunder, so on and so forth. And it's going to get really, really cold. Yeah, the lows are going to be really, really shitty. And we're supposed to be getting a massive snowstorm by the middle or by near the end of next week, Thursday-ish. So we'll see how that all plans out, see that actually happens. So we shall see. So real quick, let's just get started because I want to get over this and done with. The Super Bowl turned out a little bit better than expected. The Philadelphia Eagles absolutely dominated the shitty Chiefs and beat them 40-22. It wasn't as close as that made it sound like. They got 14, could have been more than that. They got some 2-point conversions there. They got a bunch of garbage points at the end of the game when the game was already decided. The Chiefs just did not look like they were coming to play. They were not getting the calls because I think the refs were fearing the people watching them a lot more, and saying that they were giving the Chiefs more calls. It looked like to begin the game they were going to be doing that because they gave kind of a BS pass interference call, but the Eagles were just too dominant and ended up winning 40-22. Did not win any in the pool. I'm angry at the Eagles. What was the Eagles? No, it wasn't the Eagles. It was the fucking Chiefs I was angry at. I had a chance to, it was like 24-0, 24-34-0, one of those two. And might have been 34-0. The Chiefs then got a cheap touchdown to make it 34-6 with like 10 seconds left in the quarter. And all you do is kick the extra point. It was 34-0, and that was 34-6. They just need to kick the extra point to make it 34-7, and I would have won that box. But instead, they decided to go for 2 and didn't get it, so it was 34-6 to end. So I missed it. So one of our salesmen, our British salesman, he got the first quarter. This young girl whose mother and her worked together. She won 2 of the blocks, and Kona, the company, also won a block as well. So that's how that went. Still successful. The salesman was out all week for the most part, so I still had the money from last weekend. So that's how the Super Bowl went. The halftime show was pretty decent. It was a good racially charged thing, and it continued the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, and it pissed off all the conservatives who had shut down inclusiveness. They're shutting down the DEI programs. So then they started complaining that there were no white people on stage, and it's like, well, you guys got rid of inclusivity, so we don't have to listen to you anymore. So that was kind of a little kick about that. And also a couple of MAGA fucks who voted for the president are starting to fuck around and find out. One woman who was on SNAP benefits, her SNAP benefits aren't going to happen. So she was freaking out with TikTok and freaking out. Another farmer who voted for him was absolutely freaking out also because the farm work that he already did and he was waiting to get paid for, he never got paid for it and is not going to get paid for it. So he was pissed about that. He could lose his farm. Wah, wah. And then a teacher who also voted for him was like, we didn't vote for him to cut the Department of Education, but he was saying that the whole fucking time, you stupid bitch. So she is all pissed about that too. So little by little things are starting to appear, but it just seems really hopeless right now. And I'm so tired of everything. And I just wish something would happen and it would all go back to being good and normal again. Crisis of faith, if you want to call it whatever you want to. I don't care. Now, at the Eagles Super Bowl parade, a few days, actually it was on Friday. It was on Valentines Day. 2 people actually got shot. And the general manager of the Eagles had a beer thrown at him and got hit in the head with a beer. So stay classy, Philly, when it comes to that sort of stuff. So don't know what's going on with all that, but there we go. But that's it. Football's over and done with. Ravens have the number 27 pick in the draft, which is about a normal spot where they tend to be usually. And now we've got nothing. Pitchers and catchers reported to spring training this week, and the rest of the players will be coming in by the beginning of next week, and things will get back to normal for baseball. But baseball doesn't just keep my attention as much as football does. I want my team to do good, but I just know as soon as they get as soon as they get the playoffs, they're going to get their asses whooped, and then it's going to be over another off season of, well, what should we do to fix this? They lost the one really good pitcher that they got in free agency last year. And they picked up a Japanese pitcher who could potentially be really, really good. But the rest of their free agent stuff has been, who are these has-been nobody pieces of garbage who no one's ever heard of before and who aren't good, who are just sort of pieces, bodies, whatever. It doesn't make any sense what they're doing. Spending their money on these old, out-of-date, stupid players that have no reason to be there except just to be bodies. So I don't know. So I look forward to that just because all 2025 so far has just set me down a depressing hole right now, and it's going to continue that way until things change. Valentine's Day is no difference about that. Valentine's Day has never been a real big deal anyway, and my mom really hammered it home last week where she said Valentine's Day was more for younger couples or people who are dating and not really so much for people who've been married forever. And that's true. My wife and I really don't make a big deal about Valentine's Day. My wife was supposed to actually be camping this weekend, but not enough people came, wanted in, and a few people got sick. And they were supposed to do a skating thing, but because of the snow and ice that happened today, they didn't do that either. So it's just been, and then because of that, I ordered stuff. It was coming late on Saturday, so I thought that'd be fine. We'll do it on Sunday. They're back on Sunday. Now, and I got it on Friday, so I still got it on Valentine's Day, so whatever. So we're going to open all our Valentine's Day stuff on Sunday, but it's not a big deal for any of us. My daughter had a sleepover last night. My son has a sleepover Sunday to Monday because they're off due to President's Day on Monday. So call me cynical or whatever, my old age, but Valentine's Day really just seems like a waste of time. I'm a holiday guy, and Valentine's Day, the only thing that I really wanted to do about that is I have Valentine's Day playlist, which I really, really love. I played that at work over the last couple of weeks. I have a couple Valentine's Day shirts, and I like romantic comedies, but I didn't really get a chance to watch any of that because the TV is always occupied by somebody else, and I don't feel like putting on something that I just want to watch when everybody else is sort of in the house. That's why I kind of like being by myself, or why I want a TV up in my bedroom, but I'm not going to be getting one, which pisses me off too. So just more depressing bullshit. So, oh well, life goes on, I suppose. I really should put on a different jacket here because I'm probably going to go crazy here. So it's over and done with. Hooray. Next big holiday is Easter. Again, another one's sort of just like meh. It's not anywhere like the fall ones, which are the greatest ones. So we shall see. Before I get to the Captain America review, I'm just going to run a few little things out through here. Mia Goth and Corey Hawkins have joined the already stacked Odyssey cast, Nolan's Odyssey. They have now joined it as well. So that's insane. Chris Eccleston and Billy Piper are reuniting for Doctor Who Audio Adventures, which is a big thing in Britain where they bring back the old doctors and their companions, and they do audio adventures where they just, use the radio, listen to the radio, and they listen to the adventures. So you're going to get new Doctor Who content from Chris Eccleston, but it's not going to be seen on TV. Elizabeth Berkley, one of my crushes, I guess you could say, appeared in the final season of Cobra Kai, which just wrapped up this weekend. So that's pretty cool. Didn't know she was going to be in that. The Wheel of Time Season 3 trailer debuted this week. I haven't watched that show in a long time, and I don't even know if my wife is really that. She watched the second season, but it's been a while since it came out, so who knows if they'll be back into it. I did not know there was a Golden Girls live theater show, so that's kind of interesting to see that. It's going to be at the Hippodrome in April, I think, but it's like they're doing like an episode of the show or something, but live on the theater. Which shouldn't surprise me because And when my daughter was really, really young, for Father's Day, I took her to a daddy-daughter theater thing at the Hippodrome, where they were doing episodes of her favorite Nick show. Nick shows like the pets, the the pets and the backyardigans and stuff like that. So, too hot. Yes. So, so that was kind of cool. So I guess there's precedent where they do episodes of shows on theater, but I said no, they did a Golden Girls one, which is pretty interesting. So I might put that on a little bit because now I'm cold. I don't know. Natasha Lyonne is set to star in an adaptation of the DC Comics horror comic Basket Full of Heads, which is about a psychopathic woman who cuts the heads off of people, but the heads aren't dying and they talk to her. So kind of a weird, bizarre little comic. Oh, Jesus Christ. To be adapted in either TV or movie format. Not exactly sure how they're going to do it. Green Day is producing a movie about their early career, but they're changing it up a little bit. They're going to be following a band that is going to try to a no-name band that's going to try to open for Green Day, and I guess they did something like that when they were just starting out on a New Year's Eve event. It's called New Year's Rev. So we'll see how that comes out. So, excuse me. President Musk and the Felon fired hundreds of people as part of their government waste program, and then discovered, oh shit, we just fired the people who handle our nuclear arms. They had no idea who they were firing. They just fired people for the hell of it, and they happened to fire people who deal with our nuclear arms. So now they have to figure out a way to hire them back. Now, when I first heard that, I thought they were going to allow Russia to come in and steal our nuclear weapons to hold the world hostage, which wouldn't surprise me that much if they still do that. But morons. Elevation trailer. I think I talked about this one before. It's a action sci-fi horror movie starring Anthony Mackie, who's Captain America, and it's about aliens who have taken out like everything below like 5,000 feet. So this group of people are climbing up into like the 8,000 feet up a mountain and have to deal with trying to knock off the aliens who live up there, so they can survive up there. So speaking of Anthony Mackie, he's got a bunch of things coming out. His Twisted Metal Season 2 trailer debuted this week as well and looks pretty decent. The first season did pretty well. The second season's due out this summer again, part of the year of streaming. So Stephanie Beatrice is back. The clown guy is back. I don't know if Nev Campbell's back or not, but she might be. So we'll see. And that brings us to the big movie that came out this week, Captain America, Brave New World. I took off work on Friday to watch it because that's what I always do when the MCU comes out with new movies. And technically, it's been the first MCU movie in about 2 years because Deadpool Wolverine does not count, despite what some people are saying. Yes, it comes out under the MCU banner when the opening MCU thing happens. And it's part of the multiverse thing. But the only connection it has to the MCU is it mostly takes place with the TVA, which was introduced in the MCU as in Loki. And that's really the only aspect of it. Everything else is all about the Fox heroes and stuff like that. And in the end, Deadpool doesn't even go to the MCU. He's back in his own world with Wolverine. So other than a sequence with Happy Hogan, I don't see how you can call this an MCU movie because no other heroes from the MCU show up. And he does not live in the MCU world. He's still in his own world, being able to travel between places thanks to cable. So it's been a couple years since there was a proper MCU movie, and Captain America: Brave New World is the first one of 3 that are coming out this year, all of which I've been looking forward to. And I saw it, and I am going to go a little bit into spoiler detail a little bit. So if you don't want to be spoiled by my review of Captain America: Brave New World, you might want to stop listening to the show now. I will do like a when I'm done talking about it, so you can come back to it. So if you want to mute me, you can go ahead while I'm talking about it. All in all, it is a pretty fucking good movie. Ignore the haters, ignore the reviews, ignore the haters, ignore the morons. Captain America: Brave New World is a excellent movie. It's very reminiscent of early MCU movies, has that sort of quality of sort of like a start over, sort of like an Iron Man sort of movie where you get introduced to a new character, even though we've known Sam for a while, but he's now playing Captain America full time now. Excuse me. And doing a pretty damn good job of it. The action sequences are pretty decent. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically, like 6 of these action sequences in the film. The general premise is Sam Wilson as Captain America goes in to stop a buyer for something that was stolen from the Japanese, and they need to get it back so it doesn't fall into enemy hands. Sam discovers that Sidewinder, member of the Serpent Society, which I'll get to in a little bit, is the one that stole it. It was waiting for a buyer, and the buyer never showed up. But Sam did, along with some army people, and they were able to retrieve the package that was stolen. And Sidewinder escaped, however. So with the help of Joaquin, who was introduced in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show as the new Falcon, Sam returns the package to the United States and gets invited by President Thunderbolt Ross, who is played by Harrison Ford here, taking over for the late William Hurt, who passed away a few years ago. Who was just one election, and they never got along. They never saw eye to eye, but Ross said good job on getting the sample back, and he's thinking about having Sam restart the Avengers because they need them more now than ever, just because of this discovery. What the discovery is, we find out that what was in the package was a item called adamantium. Common people know what that's about. It is now officially in the MCU, and it's coming from a strange place. Remember the Celestial that died at the end of Eternals, and everybody's been bitching about, we never got a payoff about it. Well, you got a payoff from it here, as we find out that it has been duly noted being aware in the Marvel Universe that was not being ignored. They were discovering it, and different countries were laying claims to it, and they eventually decided to work out a treaty, which is the height of President Ross's first 100 days in office, is to get this treaty signed with Japan and other countries to share adamantium and not have one country own all of that adamantium like Wakanda does with vibranium. So they've been mining it from the Celestial, and they've been discovering what it can be used for. So Sam gets invited to a party at the White House, which is going to unveil this adamantium. And Cap decides to invite Isaiah Bradley, who is the former Captain America, the one in the 1950s who was tested and then sent to jail for 30 years and abused and tortured and tested on it, and finally got out as a cynical, grumpy, um, anti-U.S. government guy who lives in Baltimore with his grandson, who ends up leading the Young Avengers. But that's besides the point. But Sam, who met him in the Falcon Winter Soldier series, invites him to go to this party just to maybe start a fresh new start and think he would enjoy it, stuff like that. And Joaquin Falcon comes with him. So they go to this party at the White House. And so Ross is doing the speech when all of a sudden about 6 people, including Isaiah, start trying to assassinate him. So the Falcon and Captain America and the chief of security for the president, I don't know the actress name, but she is a Israeli Black Widow woman who is named Sabra in the comics. Sabra never comes up in the movie, though her Sabra costume appears briefly in the movie, which I think was something that was supposed to be, she was supposed to be in it more. But then during the reshoots, they decided to cut that whole Sabra storyline out of it. But there is still remnants of her in her Sabra outfit that you see in the movie as well. So eventually they capture Isaiah Bradley, who has no memory of doing that. He ends up going to jail again, which he didn't want to do. And then Ross wants to make a example of him, so he's going to put down the death penalty on him and stuff like that. But Sam thinks there's something else going on because he would never do that, and he had no idea what was going on, all stuff that's happening. So Ross takes him off the case, but of course Sam doesn't do that, and he and Joaquin end up investigating on their own and discover a thanks to Sidewinder, who comes after Sam. Sidewinder, played by Giancarlo Esposito, comes after Sam, and eventually Sam defeats him in a hand-to-hand combat thing. And we learn that there is somebody that Thunderbolt Ross knows very well is being held captive at a high-security U.S. prison called Echo One Base. And Sam and Joaquin decide that they think that that's what's going on, that there's some sort of mind control involved that's coming from this place. So they go to this location and they discover Samuel Stearns, played by Tim Blake Nelson. So he was in the Hulk movie with Edward Norton, which was the second Marvel MCU movie of all time. And they had a whole bunch of loose ends from that movie finally get tied up in this one. Turns out Samuel Stearns, for those who know the comics, is a character named the Leader, who is the Hulk's major villain. He's the one who is the main bad guy in the movie. He has been come up with some sort of mind control thing because Ross, when he was captured after the Hulk movie and put into this location, Ross discovered that he has a heart condition and that he's going to die, and he doesn't want to die before he reconnects with his daughter, Betty, played by Liv Tyler from the Hulk movie with Edward Norton. And he's trying to get her, but she doesn't want to talk to him because she thinks he's an asshole. And so he went to Samuel Stearns to try to help him stave off a heart attack. And in order to do that, and if he would do that, he would give him a pardon if he became president, and Sam Stearns would be free to go and do whatever. But Ross had no intention of doing that. He was just using Stearns to get healthy. And Stearns isn't stupid enough to realize, isn't stupid. So he realizes that it's a fix. So he decides to up the gamma radiation, the pills he gives Ross to stave off his heart attack, which is lasing his body with gamma radiation. And so Captain America finds out all about this, finds out about the mind control stuff. Sabra helps them as well. And it is soon released that the whole adamantium being stolen from the Japanese was set up by the U.S. And Thunderbolt Ross particularly to try to prove their friendship or whatever to the Japanese so that they would sign this treaty that they were helping them for whatever. So Japanese find out about this, and so they refuse to sign the treaty now, which could totally crash everything. And the Japanese said they want to take over all the adamantium themselves, so they're going to go to lay claim to the island. Ross doesn't like that very much, so he sends the fleet out to do the same thing, to beat the Japanese there to lay claim to it so that nobody else can have it as well. And Sam has to convince him that that's not the right way, blah, 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 whatever. So then eventually there's a battle that takes place by the Celestial, and the Falcon and Captain America have to fight to stop it, to not escalate it to war. And during that, the Falcon gets injured. Joaquin gets injured and is on his deathbed. And, Sam ends up saving the day, but he's beginning to doubt himself again because he doesn't have the superpowers and all this stuff. And here is one of the first major spoilers. So spoiler alert, the best cameo in the whole movie, that nobody was expecting and everyone was surprised about, is Bucky Barnes shows up. Sebastian Stan, the two of them got really close during Falcon and Winter Soldier. He comes up and they have one of the best conversations ever put to a Marvel movie, and show the chemistry between them. And Bucky has one of the best lines in the movie ever that convinces Sam that, people look up to Sam because he's just like them and stuff like that, to keep doing what he's doing. So Sam decides to take it to Stearns, and eventually things seem to be going okay, but Ross starts losing it a little bit and ends up turning into Red Hulk and starts demolishing the White House and everybody like that. So Captain America has to stop him. So battle amongst the cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C. And eventually, it ends with Anthony Mackie's Captain America, who was a counselor. And Sam Wilson was a counselor to veterans who were having issues, PTSD, stuff like that, using his ability to be that counselor to pull Ross out of the Red Hulk persona, and ends up putting him in jail. The leader gets put in jail also because he surrendered himself because he now has destroyed Thunderbolt Ross's reputation, which is what he wanted to do in the first place. And Sidewinder gets put in jail with a light sentence for helping out Sam and giving him information. And all seems right with the world. He's Captain America. The world loves him. And at the very end, we get our second cameo. Liv Tyler returns as Betty Ross to come and see her dad at the prison, the Raft. And so Sam decides that he is going to restart the Avengers because Ross had asked him to, but then Ross rescinded it during this high tension war with Japan going on. But now Sam has decided he's going to go ahead and do it, and he's going to try to teach the Falcon up on who recovers from his injuries how to fight better and so on and so forth. So ends how you expected. It was a fast, fun, entertaining movie. There is a final credit sequence where Sam talks to the leader, and the leader and him have a conversation, and the leader mentions something about the others coming soon. And so we don't know if that means alternate, like the Kang group coming, or if it's a group of evil superheroes from other dimensions coming, or if it's the X-Men coming, or even if it has to do with Shang-Chi, that something was alerted to the presence of the 10 rings, that's coming also. So they do leave a lot open for that up. And that's your basic premise of Captain America Brave New World. It is a fast, fun, great movie. I love the movie immensely. I want to see it again, and it could very well become one of my favorite Marvel movies I go back to over and over again because it is that good. I really, really enjoyed it a lot. I loved how they all the subplots that have been hanging out there for 17 plus years have finally got resolved. Yes, it's a long time, but they needed to get to that point in a specific way. So to get Tim Blake Nelson's leader in there, who's absolutely, despite what everybody says, is absolutely phenomenal, plays him exactly as he should. The makeup on him is a little off, but you really can't have the goofy looking big octagonal head sort of thing. It just looks weird. But Tim Blake Nelson plays the hell out of the character, the leader, does a really good job. Carl Lumley as Isaiah Bradley, steals every scene he's in. He is one of the actors that really plays it straight to the hilt. It's very his character has a horrible story arc, not the horrible story, but the character has lived a horrible life, and it's fun to see him finally sort of get some time to live again, which was good. Dan Ramirez, who played Joaquin, is pretty good as Falcon. Good partner for Sam Wilson, and hope to see more of them together. Harrison Ford does a great job of filling William Hurt's shoes as Thunderbolt Ross, and it's good to see kind of a different side to Harrison Ford. You always see him as sort of the grumpy Han Solo, Indiana Jones type, but always ultimately good. He plays a not so good but not so bad character here, does a really decent job of it, and does a decent job as the Red Hulk, which is pretty good. Obviously, it's computer generated, but still he might have done the motion capture, so it looks really, really good. Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie is Captain America. He absolutely held my attention through the whole movie. Did a fantastic job in the role. Held his own in the action sequences. Was good for his character being a counselor and all that stuff, and uses that a lot in his storylines. And just to see him be Sam Wilson and how Sam is a former Air Force guy who is military and knows the stuff like that, just like Captain America, like Steve Rogers was, is excellent. And he made his own path, and he's absolutely perfect as it. And he has his own costume, which combines his Falcon and the Captain America outfit and does very, very well with that. You get a call back to Wakanda, stuff like that. So you get an internal subplot taken care of. You get the Hulk subplots taken care of. You open up some new subplots here. Some issues I had with it. Now, Copperhead of the Serpent Society was by Giancarlo Esposito was good, but not exactly what I was looking for. Serpent Society is one of my favorite villain groups in Captain America, and I know it would be silly to have them all show up in their snake costumes and take on Captain America. Same thing why they did this with Batroc, the Leap Air, and the Winter Soldier. They didn't dress him up in his flamboyant outfit. I can understand, but changing the Serpent Society up as kind of a like a mob group, and really you only see two of the characters, Sidewinder and like Bushwhacker or something like that. And he's just a guy that, if you didn't see the claws on his hands, like supposed to be like fangs of the snake fangs, you just assume he was just some sort of thug that Sam has to beat up on. So I wish they would have done more with the Serpent Society and did it more like the comics. Yeah, as I said, I know the costumes, I get it, are goofy and silly, but that might actually be what is needed. Or something. It doesn't have to be as gaudy as the costumes are, but to have a society with characters all with snake names and have various different powers. You could bring Diamond back in, who was a love interest for Steve Rogers, Captain America. You could very easily switch that out and make that a love interest for Sam Wilson if you wanted to. I would have no problem with that. So, so I had issues with that. I had issues with some of the storytelling, like Sam has these wings from Wakanda that has sort of the Black Panthers thing where any force against that gets built up, and then he has to dispel it and can use it as a weapon to dispel it against somebody. And it plays a big role in the finale against the Hulk, but only in one sequence. He's getting beaten up a lot, and the wings are, and you can see the wings powering it all up and stuff like that. So I don't know if he was just holding it all to take down the Hulk in one big swoop, but there are other aspects where he was fighting in those, like in the battle by the Celestial, he was getting hit in the wings a lot by it, and you could see it turning purple and stuff like that. But he never used it against the enemies that were firing on him. Now they could be because they're mind-controlled Americans and Japanese who are just defending themselves, but still, you could probably have used that to protect yourself a little bit better. So I thought that was kind of off a little bit. They didn't work on that too much. There was something else that threw me off also. Oh, the fact that Sam Wilson is just a regular person, and he gets shot and stabbed in this battle with Giancarlo Esposito's Copperhead or Sidewinder, and he does not. And then he gets zapped by these soldiers with these sort of Zapatron sort of sticks that shoot electricity through him, and it doesn't seem to really affect him too much. He was stabbed down here, and you see bandages around there, but he's not wincing. He's not he's not bleeding. You never see if he got stitches, stuff like that. And then he also gets shot a couple times and beat up a little bit, but he shows no sign of really being hurt in any way or even being affected by the hurt. His battle with the Hulk, you see some blood that is drawn, but and you see him exhausted a little bit, but you don't get the feeling that it's that he's really been in a real fight or been stabbed or shot and shocked with those things as well. He just walks away from it like it's nothing. And like he has healing powers and stuff like that. So that kind of threw me off a little bit also. I hate having this frog in my throat. So all in all, though, it is a great fucking movie. I want to see it again. I highly recommend everybody go see it. It made $40 million in its opening day, so it'll probably do better on Saturday and Sunday. So if it laps the 40 million it did on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, if it hits 50 million on Saturday and like 50 million on Sunday, or 40 million, even 40 or 30 million on Sunday, that's additional 80 million added to the 40. It's like $120 million opening weekend. So they're projecting 995, which is absolutely ludicrous after this $40 million opening. They should really jump it up to about 120 to 150. Because I'm betting more people went to see the movie on the weekend than they did during the week. Hell, when I was getting my tickets on Friday, the 7:00 IMAX show was sold out. So there were people seeing the movie. So definitely worth it. I loved every minute of it. Ignore the critics, ignore Rotten Tomatoes, ignore the haters, ignore the toxic fan base, ignore the conservative assholes who can't stand seeing a black person and like, oh, you're being woke. No, Sam Wilson has been Captain America for a long time in the comics. Again, you show that you do not read the comics because you're stupid ass morons. So that being said, definitely go see Captain America Brave New World if you can. Highly recommended. fantastic cast. Everything is great about it. With a few little problems I just told you about that I have issues with, but they're not issues that made me want to hate the movie. It's actually a very fun movie, and as I said, reminded me of early MCU sort of films. So definitely worthwhile. Probably my top 15 Marvel movies of all time. So there we go. Some anniversaries. Silence of the Lambs came out 34 years ago this week. Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which is still one of the best names ever, is a Star Wars novel that came out after the Star Wars movie, but before Empire Strikes Back. And it has a great cover with Darth Vader in the woods facing off against Luke and Leia, who are down on the ground. Obviously, depending on whatever rumors you believe, Lucas always knew that Luke and Leia were going to be brother and sister, or you can believe that he just came up with that when he came up with Darth Vader being the father in Empire Strikes Back, and he had no intention of making them related in Star Wars. So that's why they had the kiss scene in it. Splinter of the Mind's Eye goes off from that and deals and has them, exploring their love for each other on a mission together, spending time together. They run to Darth Vader. Again, not knowing it's his father, not knowing that's his sister, or even it was even thought of because this book came out after Star Wars and before Empire Strikes Back did. So I think it's been knocked out of being part of the Star Wars universe now. So doesn't even matter anyway. Deaths this week. Bob Fisher, a tight end for the NFL, died this week, and Dave Van Gorder, a Major League Baseball catcher, died this week as well. Ann Dowd to reprise her role in The Handmaid's Tale, which is finishing up its final season right now, in a new spin-off series based on the sequel that the author of The Handmaid's Tale wrote called The Testament. So they're going to be making a sequel to Handmaid's Tale based on the author's sequel to the Handmaid's Tale novels. Netflix is doing a Dungeons and Dragons show, but it is under the banner of the Forgotten Realms, which if you are a D&D fan, the Forgotten Realms is a whole other splinter of D&D. It's a whole other storyline that has its own history, its own mythology and stuff like that. Has its own books, has its own gaming way of playing the game. And it's under Dungeons and Dragons, but is its own entity, and they're making a show about that. So we'll see how that turns out. What the fuck is that? Oh, 9 Bodies in a Mexican Morgue is a new movie, I think. The trailer came out for it. I didn't watch it, so I don't know much about it. Jude Law and Jason Bateman are set to star in Black Rabbit, a Netflix show. Benedict Cumberbatch is set to replace Tom Hardy in Cary Fujiwaka's Blood on Snow. Could be interesting. Potsy, never knew them, their kid Potsy. Potsy Ponzaroli is set to write the Goonies sequel, which is officially going to be underway here. A humpback whale swallows a kayaker before spitting him out, and there's video of it actually happening. There's the kayaker. The whale comes up, the kayaker disappears, and then a few seconds later, the kayaker reappears in the water, and the whale swims away. So interesting. The Pit has been renewed for a second season. Catherine Zeta-Jones is tapped to star in a new series based on the Price You Pay novels. This one's called Kill Jackie. First look at Wuthering Heights with Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, set to debut 1 year from yesterday. It's set to debut on February 14th, 2026. Big news. Speaking of Jacob Elordi, Euphoria Season 3 has already started filming its final 8 episodes. Most of the cast, including the most famous ones, Sydney Sweeney, Zendaya, Jacob Elordi, Coleman Domingo, are all coming back to the show. And they've also added Kadeem Hardison, NFL player Marshawn Lynch, and Rosalia to the cast. Sharon Stone has also been added to the cast of Euphoria Season 3, so we'll see how that all works out. So the fact they were able to get all the big stars back even after the 4-year hiatus since the last season, and they've all became big stars on their own right, is now fun to see that. Michelle Williams, Jenny Slate, Rob Delaney, and John Duplass are set to star in an FX limited series called Dying for Sex, based on the Windery podcast. No idea what any of that's about, but a pretty decent cast coming out of that. True Detectives new season set to debut in 2027 is going to be set in Jamaica Park, New York, or Jamaica Bay, New York, excuse me. We got our first look at Bridgerton Season 4. It looks like there's some sort of costume ball with a little mask you see all the time. The first pictures we saw. Daryl Dixon Season 3 has finished filming its season, so we'll be seeing that very shortly. High Potential, the great new crime drama from ABC with the actress from It's Only Sunny in Philadelphia, gets a second season as well. Ella Valencia to star in the horror game, and Javier Bardem and Amy Adams are set to star in a Cape Fear Apple TV series. So Apple TV tends to like to make movies and turn them into TV series. They've been doing that a lot lately. Now continuing, real quick, scientists have recorded the first ever ice quakes deep inside Greenland's frozen rivers, so that's pretty cool to hear that. Now our continuing coverage of the MAGA bullshit asshole dumb fucks in our country. The White House has banned the Associated Press from everything for calling the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of Mexico, not the new name that the felon in chief and President Musk changed the name to, which nobody should be calling it by that name. It's the Gulf of fucking Mexico. So fuck off. And if you always claim to say, what about free speech? What about free speech? Well, you're just cutting off free speech there, you stupid fucks. And also, Kid Rock, that dumb motherfucker as well, as a big old snowflake. He walked off a stage in Nashville after nobody applauded him and was then seen leaving in a limo with Representative Laura Brobert, who you remember, who jacked a dude at a family musical, Beetlejuice, in full view of people, and also blew smoke in the area of a pregnant woman, which could kill the baby. So great fucking people, you Kid fucking Rock piece of shit. Anniversaries. The Breakfast Club debuted 40 years ago this week. Super Troopers debuted 24 years ago this week. Mannequin debuted 38 years ago this week. The Daredevil with Ben Affleck debuted 22 years ago this week. Wayne's World debuted 33 years ago this week. And 50 Shades of Grey debuted 10 years ago this week. Also this week, anniversary of the pale blue dot picture that Carl Sagan wanted Voyager to take. That came out 35 years ago this week. And where's the other one? I thought I had another one, but I don't. Okay. That's Jim Todd, an Oakland A's pitcher. He passed away this week as well. And Michio Mania was composer for Grave of the Fireflies, died at the age of 95 this week as well. New season of Fortnite starts next weekend, and the theme is Lawless, which is another stupid fucking heist season. I'm so sick of those. But one of the new skins they showed is a giant pickle, so I'm going to love that because my nickname is Dill Pickle. Jeremy Strong and Peter Myers joined the Boys from Brazil Netflix series. Batman Ice Pops that you can get from ice cream trucks are now going to be available at grocery stores, but without the gumdrop eyes or the bubble gum eyes. This looks good. I kind of want to find these. Rice Krispie treats have a milk chocolate cream egg, which is going to have Rice Krispie treats inside it as well. That sounds absolutely stunningly delicious, and I got to find those, and hopefully we'll be able to find them soon. Dunkin' Refresher jelly beans are the new jelly beans from Dunkin' this year. Kit Kat cotton candy flavor is due out this year as well. Peanut butter pie mini cups for Reese's peanut butter cups, which could very well also get a big cup debut is coming out here soon too. The Ring of Power, The Lord of the Rings, been renewed for a third season. Dave Bautista set to join Dreadnought, a sci-fi dystopian film, after he makes another sci-fi dystopian film with Paul Anderson and I can't think of her actress name real quick. Taylor Lautner is set to join a Werewolf Hunter series, which is ironic since he played a werewolf in the Twilight movies. That's going to be on Amazon Prime. Emergencies have been declared in the Greek islands as a string of earthquakes increases, means that a volcanic eruption is due to come here soon. Science has detected the highest energy ghost particle ever seen. Trying to figure out how that actually happened. Iridescent clouds on Mars were photographed at dusk by the NASA rover. They look absolutely stunning. Lexi Minitry has been cast in the Legally Blonde prequel series as the main character in Legally Blonde. That was played by Reese Witherspoon, who is producing the show. Ransom Canyon, which looks a hell of a lot like Yellowstone, is getting a new Netflix series starring Josh Duhamel and Mika Kelly. So yippee for another one of those. Max Beasley, Douglas Hodge, J.J. Khalid, and Betty Gabriel joined the cast of the Jack Ryan movie with John Krasinski, reprising the role he did on the Amazon Prime show. Jack Links, the beef jerky people, they're getting into chili now. So that could be interesting. I mentioned earlier that Cobra Kai has ended its run, its show. Two of the stars, Tanner Buchanan and Mary Mouser, who have been doing the show now for 6 seasons. They met way back when it first started, are now engaged to be married. It's always good to see those couples that come from movies and TV shows have worked together for so long and end up getting married. I think it's really cool. Inami Sulcus is cast in Ascent, another horror movie. The Accountant 2 trailer with Ben Affleck and John Barenthal actually looks pretty decent. So if you like that, that'd be pretty cool. Borderland trailer with Samara Weaving, just like a supposed to be more of a comedy horror film, but the trailer really ramps up the horror. It's about a stalker who kidnaps or locks down a superstar who he claims wants to marry him, and all the craziness that happens from that. Cheech and Chong are set to have a documentary about themselves. On Swift Horses trailer came out. I haven't really seen it, so don't really care much. Mila Jovovich is set to do an animated spinoff of The Fifth Element. So her character from The Fifth Element will probably be the focus of the spinoff animated series. Hansel and Gretel picture book, written by Stephen King with art by Mari Sendak, is due to hit this fall. That's a very interesting combination. Linda Cardellini has been cast as Mrs. Voorhees in the Friday the 13th series Crystal Lake. Linda Cardellini was Velma in the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. Played Hawkeye's wife in the Hawkeye series and Age of Ultron. And she was in Freaks and Geeks, and she's been a whole bunch of stuff. So good casting, I think. I like it. Speaking of casting, I'm not that excited about the Harry Potter TV show that's coming to Max. I don't have Max. I'm not going to watch it anyway, and the whole J.K. Rowling stuff. But it appears that she is not sticking to her only British actors can do this. Because probably one of the best casting ideas I've ever heard, and I think about it more and more, very well could happen. And the actor involved is American. John Lithgow is said to be the top pick for Albus Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series. I'll see about this a little bit. Most people know John Lithgow from Third Rock from the Sun, where he was a comedic genius, very good physical comedian, very loud, exaggerated guy. They also know him as the Trinity Killer on Dexter, which shows a darker, evil side as well. He started his career off working on some Brian De Palma technically remakes of Hitchcock films. He played a bad guy in Ricochet and Cliffhanger. Has played good guys in The Pelican Brief and Harry and the Hendersons in Interstellar as well. He is a very versatile actor who can do both straight up funny comedy, goofy granddad sort of energy, and can also, at a turn of a dime, be one of the most vicious, straightforward thinking, toughest people out there. And I think he would be absolutely phenomenal as Albus Dumbledore. He's got that distinct voice. You know him from Shrek. So he's got I think he's the absolute perfect role if you have to pick somebody to do it. I think John Lithgow is absolutely perfect for that role. Another perfect role, actually, I'd prefer if he was going to play Voldemort, but I can understand why he might not. Cillian Murphy from Oppenheimer and other stuff as well is said to be on the top list to play Quirrell in the first Harry Potter season. That could be decent. That's decent casting right there. But in the end, I wish Cillian would have Voldemort. He'd be a good Voldemort, I think. So we'll see who they're going to end up with Voldemort. But that won't be needed for a little while, though. So we got a few more years to go with that. But Cillian Murphy is Quirrell in the new Harry Potter series, and John Lithgow is Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series. Both are excellent ideas. Also, rumored Brett Goldstein as Hagrid. Maybe. He's got that gruff, lovable sort of aspect to him, hairiness, so we'll see. A military jet crashes in San Diego. It's like the 6th or 7th airplane crash in the last 3 weeks. Gee, I wonder what that's all about. Go figure. I already talked about that a couple weeks ago. Anniversaries. Groundhog Day debuted 32 years ago this week. Deadpool debuted 9 years ago this week. Kingsman: The Secret Service debuted 10 years ago this week. Deaths, we had Jerome Drayler, 1976 Olympian, and was the last Canadian to win the Boston Marathon. Died at the age of 80. And Bailey Hutchins, a TikTok star, died at the age of 26 due to colon cancer. One of my favorite actors of all time, character actor, I should say, Paul Giamatti, is set to play conspiracy theorist, supernatural expert radio host Art Bell in a biopic, which I think is absolutely perfect casting. Ben Stiller is said to be headlining a music industry dramedy for HBO called The Band. Jesse Garcia and Will Yoon Lee have also joined the Odyssey as well, continuing to stack that cast up there. Miles Teller and Casey Affleck are said to star in a manhunt thriller called Wild Game. Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd star in a new trailer called Friendship from A24. It is a dark comedy about a quiet guy whose neighbor is played by Paul Rudd, brings him over to join his friends, and they have a couple of good nights, but then Paul Rudd's like, we can't see each other. I don't want to be your friend anymore. So the quiet guy becomes obsessed with that and becomes sort of drama, horror sort of thing. So we'll see. G20 trailer is a female, black female actress. Action film looks pretty awesome. What the hell? I cannot read what that says. Matthew Rise. Matthew Rise is set to star in Apple TV series Wicker Bay. Play Dead, a new film, is to be directed by Carry On director June Khalid Sarah, is going to be his next film. Marina Baccarin and Johannes Hawkins are set to join the Masters of the Universe show. James Purefree and Charlotte Riley are also set to star to join the Masters of the Universe show as Prince Adama's parents. Maggie Betts is set to direct The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is a huge bestseller right now. Jason Statham is set to star in another action film from the Greenland director. Peter Dinklage is set to play the villain in the new Dexter reboot coming out. And Sean Bean is cast as the Sheriff of Nottingham in the new Robin Hood series that's coming out here soon. John Ross Bowie has been cast in the Big Bang Theory spinoff, where he's reprising his role as Barry Kripke. Fukako is March's Community Day. Natalie Portman joins the new Lena Dunham rom-com TV series Good Sex, about a woman who falls in love with a 20-year-old and a 50-year-old. We got the new Thunderbolts trailer at the Super Bowl, and it's fantastic. That movie keeps getting better and better, and I get really excited. Can't wait to see more and more about it. I have no idea what these are, so just want to ignore those. Tony Isabella, the creator of Black Lightning, has come out as trans and is now known as Jenny Blake Isabella. The felon who is in the White House right now is said to be getting rid of the penny, which is an absolutely stupid idea. And how the hell does that help us? It doesn't. He's just being a dumbass shithead like he always is. Probably the best story of the week. Michael Bay was arrested for breaking into the Vatican. Yes, that Michael Bay, the director of those shitty movies. Unbelievable. Death, Tim Tootin, local newspaper newsman, died this week. Casey Carlson, Superman editor, died this week as well. Tom Robbins, an author, died this week as well. Jim Carolyn, a public announcer for the Oilers and the Texans, passed away. Porter Navy Suapopa, actor and former football player who was in Necessary Roughness and Street Fighter movies, died this week as well. And Don D. Mumal, a college football player, died this week as well. Anniversaries, the character Howard the Duck is 50 years old this week. The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, his post-Titanic movie, came out 25 years ago this week. And Billy Madison debuted 30 years ago this week. It's a trailer of some kind, but couldn't tell you any of it. Okay. Oh, bug bot drones are here. They're bug-sized drones that fly around and look like bugs. They are now out and about right now. I said that Sharon Stone joins Euphoria Season 3. The F1 trailer with Brad Pitt and from the director of the Top Gun Maverick movie debuted during the Super Bowl also. I'm not an F1 guy, but it looks like your typical sort of race car movie, which is pretty cool. So good on that. Sean Baker won the Directors Guild of America for his directing of Anora, which is usually a good sign that he's going to win Best Director at the Oscars, but not always. Before we get to the final story of the day, anniversaries, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon debuted 32 years ago this week, which is a great movie if you haven't seen it yet. The Night Flyer, another great movie that not a lot of people know about, debuted 27 years ago this week, based on a Stephen King novel and starring one of my favorite actors, Miguel Ferrer. And Chick Harris, an NFL player, died this week as well. And an interesting anniversary. I'll get to that. I'll make that my last story of the year of the episode. The felon in chief, who's in the White House right now, has made an executive order that says that you cannot say the word felon in the Oval Office, despite the fact that he has his mugshot outside of his office, the Oval Office. Not making this up. Guy's a fucking lunatic, and something needs to be done to take him out, and Musk as well. All right, that's it for that. The final story this week, 170 years ago, way back now, 170 years ago in England, a massive snowstorm hit overnight in these 5 villages in England. And when the 170 years ago, this is the 1800s. So when they woke up in the morning, people lived in the house, woke up in the morning and went outside to survey the snow and the damage. In these 5 different towns, everybody was talking about the weird set of cloven-hooved footprints that were spotted in the brand new snow. Nobody else had been in the snow. It was overnight snow, as I said. So overnight, no animals. There were no other animal tracks, no human tracks, just these cloven hooves in 2s and then not in 4. So it wasn't cows or pigs or anything like that. They were 2 cloven hooves which were all over all 5 of these towns. They would be all over, walking through the town square, going up to doors, people's doors, going up onto their roofs, looking in windows, stuff like that, coming down here and going off these 5 villages. So being the 1800s, 170 years ago, and in England, the obvious belief was that this was the devil had come up during the snowstorm at night and went for a stroll. And it was like all over the place. It was up on walls. It was up high up on houses. It was down the ground. It was up to doorways, up to windows. So a lot of people don't believe it was faked because some of the spots where these cloven hooves were found would be really hard for somebody to get up there and not disturb things, because nothing was disturbed and all you saw were these footprints. So one of the weirdest, creepiest sort of aspects that I've ever heard of before was 170 years ago this week. That's all I got for this week. I know nothing really exciting. Sorry, y'all, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. This upcoming week, the only thing is it's President's Day on Monday, and then it looks like big snowstorm is going to hit up here in this area on Thursday. Other than that, there's really not much else going on. So we'll see what happens. But yep, that's it for today's episode of Dylan Knows. I hope you have a good rest of your week, and hope everything goes good for everybody, and be safe. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.